Well, now that we're starting, I would like to introduce you all to Fanfic Foolery. Today's selection is a lovely story of something because we didn't proofread it. We just, shut up, I'm being serious. We just kind of picked it because fucking, I don't know. Tonight, dear viewers, please, feast your eyes upon Doomguy Wants It. We start our story.
Give
What?
credit to the author.
Oh, sorry, Doomguy Gets It by Dark fucking Nebula. I don't give a shit. Alright, anyway, who wants to be the narrator? Well, should I do the narrator, or go ahead?
He stood at the edge of a red, glistening portal. In his right hand he clutched the most important thing in his life, his pet Daisy's head. In his other hand, he held the second dearest thing, his machine gun. He glanced up at the portal. He didn't know what was behind it, nor did he care. Anything could be behind that gate, a new world, Earth, shit. He could even end back up in hell. But that didn't bother him.
The fuck?
Hardly anything ever bothered him, save for the death of his favorite pet rabbit. Fucking imps got him when he was...
Fucking imps!
when his back was turned. Releasing an audible sigh, he reattached Daisy to his belt. He gazed into the portal, furrowing his brow. He took his first step into the red gate. Once his head passed through, the entire world went black. He laid face first in a bush, with his ass sticking in the air. Around him he could hear the sounds of chirping birds and a group of little kids who were playing with a beach ball not too far away.
That's nice.
Pushing himself out of the bush, he shook the leaves off his helmet. He reached for his gun, only to stop when he realized that it wasn't strapped to his back. He began to panic, but as quickly as it came, it settled when he noticed that it was only laying a few feet away from him. He picked it up and brushed the leaves off of it, and dirt off of it. Using the back of his glove, he smiled at the shininess of it once he was finished. Good.
Oh, sorry. There we go. It said pop in the story.
Who's
I'll do that. Hi, girls.
Said a creepy, almost pedophile-like voice. His vision shot from his gun and over the bush towards the playing... Wait a second. Those aren't children. At least they didn't look like ordinary kids. Instead, looked more like tiny, colorful horses. Except one had wings. The other had a tiny, almost laughable spike jutting out of its head.
Oh, hi, Twilight.
Said the small, vanilla-colored horse as she slowly leaned away.
How's it going?
The purple horse spun to face the little
Billy,
thing.
do you want to be Twilight Sparkle? Do you want to be Twilight Sparkle?
Get over here, boy.
Come on, get over here and be a dang old Twilight Sparkle.
Where?
Right there.
Fucking heck.
I'm dead inside. Go ahead.
I'm trying to think of a voice.
Okay. Great! Just great! That's perfect.
Oh my God.
I like that, actually.
You might want to
Yeah.
tone it down just a little bit, though.
Go ahead.
Where was it?
Right there.
She said as sweat dripped from her forehead, her left eye twitching. He raised an eyebrow. He knew for a fact that the horse thing's day was not going good. With the way her mane was, and her comical shrunken eye... I almost thought it said shuriken eyes.
Shrunken eyes.
Shrunken eyes. He knew she hadn't slept all day at all. Out of all the fucked up demons he killed, and the horrible situations he had gotten out of, this small, colorful horse was actually kind of creepy.
I agree.
The horse began to approach the three little ones.
I'm trying to do the voice again.
You three look like you're great too!
Go ahead.
Wait, isn't that him?
No.
Well, no, it's you think like you're being great too. Well, not with you acting that way. They aren't. I think that's like Doomguy's inner monologue or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, not with you acting the way they aren't. She made her way between the three of them.
Looks like they're good friends who obviously don't need help of
She stepped in front of the orange bird horse.
another good friend.
She half shouted as she brought her face so close to the point that hers was almost touching the little kid's nose. He stepped back, his eyes wide. What the fuck is wrong with all these creatures? Doesn't she obviously know that the others don't like her being around them. Maybe he should do something. You know, go down, maybe rough up the purple one a bit. Teach her not to get super fucking close to little kids. Maybe even threaten to tell the authorities. He glanced up and saw that the horse pulled a small doll out of nowhere.
This is Smarty Pants!
She said as she nuzzled it.
She is mine when I was your age.
3 kids huddled together, trying their best to get as far away from the purple one as they can. Purple levitated the doll in front of the little ones and shouted,
And I want to give her to you.
The 3 younglings stared at the doll that has gone through hell and back with confusion. Started the orange bird thing.
She's,
No, it's...
No, it's not you.
Okay.
She's, great.
She obviously lied as she shared and looked with her friends.
Yes.
Said the vanilla horse with hardly any enthusiasm.
Great.
Marshmallow brought a hoof up to her chin.
I really like her mane.
Her voice cracked. He shrugged. At least she tried. But in all honesty, the doll looked like shit. He swung his machine gun over his shoulder, stretching his back as he got ready to move on. But before he could walk off, he decided to take one last glance at a potential rape scene.
Fuck.
Oh, fuck. The purple one was sitting down with a hoof across her chest.
That's you. That's you.
Is you, Billy?
That's you.
I really hope the fact that there's 3 of you and only one of her doesn't become a problem.
The pitch of her voice was rising as she spoke. Lowering her head, she began to murmur something to herself. Okay, he'd seen enough, and it was time to get moving. He stretched his legs and cracked his neck. As he turned away, he noticed the 3 kids fighting as they tried to get away. Maybe he could notify the horse police or something.
The horse police.
Maybe call some jockeys or something. He smirked at the thought. Stepping over the bush, he began to... Holy shit! Hearts. He could see tiny cartoon hearts going into the shit, no beautiful, so marvelous doll. He shook his head. Why he was attracted to it. It was as if he, for some reason, wanted it. Oh, Jesus. Why does he want to snuggle it?
Is this a fanfic about Doomguy coming to terms with he's a brony?
No,
I want it.
shouted the orange one.
I need it.
Said the vanilla one.
I really like her mane.
Squeaked the marshmallow. He'll kill for that fucking adorable piece of shit. He pounded his right fist into the palm of his left hand, then cracked his knuckles and charged as fast as he could towards the now fighting kids. Springing out from the bushes, he dove into the fray, grabbing the marshmallow by the right hoof, and threw into a nearby bush, holding Vanilla away with his left hand, while using the doll in a tug-of-war match with the bird horse thing. However,
Bird horse thing.
this didn't even prove to be a challenge, since the bird horse was dangling off the ground, flapping her pathetic wings at an alarming rate. Twilight stared wide-eyed at the spontaneous marsh pit. She shook her head and decided to go along with her original plan. She stepped forward.
Okay, break it up.
She said, her once crazed appearance completely gone in the dark.
I believe there's an important lesson that can be,
Releasing his death clutch from the vanilla horse's face, he cocked his left arm back and floored the purple horse,
Fucking God.
which caused her to fly back a few feet. Twilight stumbled back onto her hooves, rubbing her snout, and sighed.
Hey, come on. Aren't we all friends?
Her horn flared with magic.
Sorry.
I just
Sorry.
Her horn flared with magic, and in a single blink, she was on the other side of the view.
She has powers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweetie Belle, who was still in the bush, sat up straight, shook the leaves from her mane. She glanced up at the tall creature who was fending off Applebloom and Scootaloo. Sweetie climbed onto her hooves and charged at the giant masculine monstrosity. She then jumped into the air and latched onto it with her shoulders. That's
you, baby.
Twilight.
That's you.
Come on, guys. Don't you think we should share?
Twilight asked as she tried her best to fix her mistake.
No way!
Applebloom muffled into her hand.
His.
There's a boy horse?
Apparently, it says Apple Bloom muffled into his hand.
Anyway,
Go on. I don't care.
he shook his back, trying to fling the small marshmallow creature off of him. Though he could have just fell backwards and crushed the poor thing, however, that would require letting go of the adorable new toy. The 4 of them flustered. Twilight she realized
Released.
she released an irritated groan. Twilight then got into a pounce position and dove into the pit. She rammed into his side, causing him to stumble back and fall onto his side, which caused him to let go of this prized possession. His eyes widened in fear as the small orange filly took hold of it. But before she could run off, she was tackled into the ground by the other two fillies.
What the fuck is a filly?
A small horse.
Oh.
It's a baby horse.
Okay.
A female. He got off the ground, looking over at the small purple unicorn. He took her by the throat and threw her on her side. Twilight spun as she flew, only to end up smacking back first into Big Macintosh.
Oh, thank goodness. Big Macintosh!
Twilight groaned and straightened herself out.
You gotta help me get that!
A loud bang erupted from the pit as a pink object whizzed past Twilight's head. Milliseconds later, a large, smoldering hole had formed in a nearby tree. Twilight's eyes widened and her pupil shrunk. Glancing over her shoulder, she saw that he had his machine gun out, but luckily, before he fired, one of the fillies must have pushed his arm to the side by accident. Twilight faced Big Mac again.
Yep.
Is all he said, as if he knew Twilight was going to ask. He pushed back Twilight and made his way over to the tall creature, who was triumphantly wielding the doll, as if he had just won an Olympic medal. He smiled as he dangled the doll over the filly's head, like what an owner would do when playing with one of his cats.
That's what you do. Shut up.
The fillies jumped in the air in an attempt to latch on with their teeth, while Marshmallow over there tried to get her magic-y stuff to get it.
Magic-y stuff.
He turned away from the fillies, finally deciding that he had enough of them before he could take his first step. He felt something snag onto his onto his snuggly pants.
His snuggly pants?
His head instantly snapped towards whoever grabbed. His brow furrowed, and boy, if he could shoot lasers, man, fucking everything would be on fire right now. A large red stallion took the toy and yanked it out of his hand. The stallion then turned away from him and went back to the purple horse. But before she could thank him, he took off. He clenched his fists together, his nostrils flared, causing his visor to blur a bit. Pounding his fists together, he shook his head disappointingly. There's no holding back. Nobody takes Daisy 2.0 from him and gets away with it.
I'm sorry, Dad. You really there'd be so much goddamn narration.
He sprinted toward the horse. Oh my god, I just looked at their fucking...
Oh yeah, everything here is
God.
just you.
Okay. He sprinted towards the horse, but to his avail, it was just too fast for him to keep up with. Behind him, he could hear the shouts of other horses behind. He took a quick glance over his shoulder. Did I just read that again? Behind him came about a dozen more horses, and a horse bird-like creature, their eyes all filled with the look of love for the doll.
If you notice, he's actually holding the doll in this picture.
Yeah.
I just noticed that.
Yeah. Anyway, one by one, they ran and flew past him. And as more came by, the angrier he got. Maybe it was time he slowed things down a bit. He grabbed hold of his machine gun, rose it up, took aim. He then gently squeezed the trigger. A loud bang erupted from the gun, and the bullet soared through the air like an eagle with nitrous coming out of its ass. The bullet punctured a mint green horse's leg, causing it to go head over heels. He smiled and aimed at the next. Just like before, he fired another round. Sadly, though, he missed his target.
Doomguy wouldn't miss his target.
Absolutely not.
This is bullshit.
Alright. Where the fuck was I?
Right there.
He took his gaze forward. In front of him was a large crowd of horses, all of them piling on top of each other like ants. He pushed forward even faster. He jumped forward and landed on the back of one of the horses. Reaching upwards, he grabbed onto the mane of a brown horse that had an hourglass tattoo on its ass. He used his mane as a rope as he pulled himself up the massive dog pile of horses, though his feet could not feel the mosh pit raging below him the farther he went. Once he reached the top of the mountain of equines, he noticed the red one, who was still flinging the doll around in his disgusting, slobbery mouth. God, fuck.
Do you want me to take over as narrator for a little while?
No, I'm good. The red one craned his head from side to side when he noticed him. Before the stallion could react, however, He smashed the butt of his gun into his face, knocking him out instantly. The stallion dropped the toy, but before any of the horses could take it, he lunged out and snagged it with his left hand. Placing his right foot on one of the horses' faces, he pushed himself on top of the mountain. He stood up, gazed down at the kind of colorful yet horrific sight. He raised his gun once more and pulled the trigger. The gun clicked.
Is this the thumbnail?
Yeah. I think.
Yeah. He pulled the trigger again. It clicked again. He did it again. It clicked again. Before he could try anything else, a beam of magic came out of nowhere, struck his gun out of his hand. Started by the random act, he turned to face his random opponent. Below, the pile crawled the same mint horse he shot earlier. Despite her love-filled eyes, she seemed rather angry. He snarled, diving off the crowd and landing before Minty. Taking a few steps back forward, he strapped Daisy 2.0 to his belt. Behind him, the crowd still raged, not even knowing that he just left. He hunched forward and clutched the Minty... fucking Christ. Clutched Minty by the horn. He lifted her off the ground so that he was staring her straight in the eyes.
Give me that doll, human!
He replied.
It was ellipses. He replied.
Oh, okay. Sorry. That's right, because he doesn't speak.
Yeah.
The unicorn lashed out with her right hoof, but he caught it with his left hand. Before she could attack him with her left hoof, he tossed her aside, just like all the others. Behind him, a cotton candy-colored horse tackled him. He stumbled forward with his arms stretched out. He caught himself, but before he could stand up, the horse kicked him in the side, which sent him to the ground. I can't imagine these...
Horses are strong.
Yeah, right? Like, you can't
They're
imagine
horses,
they're just gonna murk
dude.
this dude.
They're not gonna kill Doomguy, probably. You sure you don't want me to take over?
Yeah, take over a little bit.
Just for a little bit?
Yeah.
Alright, where do we stop off? Right there?
The horse stood on her hind legs.
Oh. Alright. The horse stood on... Jesus Christ. The horse stood on her hind legs, getting ready to bombard him with kicks. He rolled out of the way right as a hoof slammed into the dirt. Quickly climbing to his feet, he lunged at her with his arm outstretched. His arm smashed into her right eye, which sent her barrel rolling in the opposite direction. Noticing that she wasn't going to get back up, he stood up straight. He reached down towards his belt and took Daisy 2.0 in his hand. Stroking her beautiful mane, he began walking up the hill where the only 6 unaffected horses laid in shock. He smiled at his new prize. He finally found her. He finally found the suitable replacement for his rabbit, and all he had to do was take it from a few stupid horses. Oh, the fun they're going to have when they get home. Maybe he'll take her to the park, or even give her a bath. Oh, the wonders they would endure. The adventures they'll have. Oh, I think that's actually me. Twilight Sparkle! He glanced up and saw a larger horse bird thing, but this time it had a horn coming out of its head. Surrounding it was a bright aura which didn't really bother him since he was still wearing his marine helmet. That's attention to detail right there.
Yeah.
He shrugged and continued up the hill, stroking his new pet. Now where was he? Oh yeah. A bright light engulfed everything around him, which caused him to stop in his tracks. Once the light dissipated, he became confused. He checked his surroundings. What the fuck? Where was he? Why is he in a fucking field in the middle of twilight? What the fuck is that white horse thing with candy-colored hair which seems to be flowing magically? Why are all these creatures staring at him? Where's his gun? Why is he holding a toy? Is he high? Then it dawned on him. It dawned on him real hard, and I mean really hard. His head slowly shifted its weight towards the purple unicorn. She did this. She drugged him. What the fuck? The 7 ponies raised an eyebrow at the sight of the now twitching creature. Is it all right? Applejack asked Twilight, who stood there with a guilty look strung across her face.
What exactly is it?
Rainbow Dash asked as she hovered in place with her forelegs crossed. His eyes twitched as his entire conscience was consumed by pure anger, the same exact anger he succumbed to the day he found Daisy's head on that stake. He became so angry that his body began to shake uncontrollably. Grabbing the toy by the neck, he tore its head off, which elicited a surprised gasp from the 7 horses. A wicked smile pierced his lips. In an instant, he began to rip the toy to pieces at an immense speed. Within seconds, the toy once known as Smarty Pants was now a pile of stuffing. He scooped the stuffing off the dirty ground and chucked it at Twilight. The stuffing smacked her in the face, which caused her to stumble back. And once she removed the stuffing, she was greeted by a fist to the face. An explosion of pain surged throughout her entire body. Her vision was blinded by a cascade of stars. Next thing she knew, she laid on the ground, gazing up at the stars. Dusting his armor off, he gave all the ponies double middle fingers while he walked off into the sunset towards the town in the distance. And that's
it?
That's the end, my friends.
Oh, fuck.
Actually, is that comments or... Yeah, that's it. We did it.
I was expecting more gore.
And you know what? I think we all have to learn... we learned a lesson here today.
I can't read to save my life.
Dear Princess Celestia.
Today I learned that fucking Marines will shoot a pony.
They just don't fuck with them. They'll literally kill you.
Mm-hmm.
And we thank you all for joining us here today. Please join us next time, if there is a next time.
God help us if there is.
Yeah, fucking seriously, like, Jesus Christ. Goodbye, everyone.